So with us now being in the first international break of the season, I thought this would be a timely point to check in on the bookies' updated odds. How has the end of the transfer window and the start to the season impacted on the promotion and relegation odds? Be interested to get your guys' thoughts as well. Are you more confident coming out of this international break or less confident given how your side ended the transfer window? Drop a like if you're going to enjoy. Without any further ado, let's jump in. So unsurprisingly, we've had no change whatsoever at the bottom of the table. It is Sheffield Wednesday, still predicted to finish bottom by the bookies. Promotion odds of 150 to 1. I can't see too many people jumping on at that price. And relegation odds of 1 to 8. I have a feeling that Wednesday are going to be rooted to that bottom spot all season long, unless we get some sort of takeover going through in a big rejig of that squad in January. 23rd, the bookies have Oxford United, also not a mover from August. They've got promotion odds of 80 to 1, relegation odds of 11 to 10. I felt like it was important that they at least got a point on the board prior to the international break with that draw against Coventry. Had they come into this break with 4 consecutive losses, I think the mood would have been really quite low. But some decent business done towards the end of the window. Oxford are by no means dead and buried and a certainty for relegation, but the bookies do have them as one of the 3 sides going down. And perhaps surprisingly, the last team that the bookies have in the relegation zone right now is Queen's Park Rangers, and this is a fall of 1 place since we last checked in on them, 1 place lower than they were in August. That despite having a pretty decent transfer record, signing some pretty eye-catching players, the likes of Kwame Poku, Richard Kone, getting Koke Saito on a permanent basis as well. I have a feeling that quite a few people would have lumped on QPR being relegated after they were absolutely battered by Coventry, shipping 7 goals in that game. So that will obviously implicate relegation odds when a lot of people are backing you for the drop. But I've got a bit more confidence in QPR. The bookies, though, thinks they could be going down. In 21st place and just avoiding the drop, the bookies have Hull City. This is actually a fall of 2 places from last time. The bookies have always been quite confident that Hull would be surviving. Pre-season, vast majority of fans and content creators that I saw were predicting Hull City to be relegated. But before a ball had been kicked, the bookies had Hull predicted to finish 19th. They have gone down a little bit and dropped in their estimation since then. Relegation odds of 4 to 1 currently, but that does just about keep their head above water. The good news for Charlton fans is that they are outside of the bottom 3 now based on the bookies' relegation odds. Before a ball had been kicked, they were the 3rd most tipped side to be relegated, but their relegation odds have widened since then. Currently 9 to 2 to be relegated. The bookies still see them as a big outsider for promotion with promotion odds of 28 to 1, but a nice rise there from Charlton. I think in those first 4 matches, they've proven themselves to be quite resilient, a tough side to break down. Still maybe a bit of a question mark over how many goals are in that side, but defensively look like a real tough nut to crack. In 19th place and a faller of 2 places from last time, we've then got Blackburn Rovers. The way the transfer window ended for Blackburn, I think there are a few twitchy Rovers fans at the moment. We've spoken about them quite a lot on the channel recently, how many experienced pros they lost over the summer. I still think they've got a core of a decent pool of players. It's just if a few injuries crop up to a few of their key men, then Blackburn really could be dragged into a bit of a scrap down at the bottom. Promotion odds of 25 to 1, so the bookies don't fancy them to be involved in a top 6 race like they were last season. Then coming in 18th, we've got my team Preston North End, and this isn't a movement whatsoever from August. The bookies still had us predicted to finish in 18th back then as well. Promotion odds of 18 to 1, relegation odds of 6 to 1. I think that it's been a pretty good start to the season for North End, all things considered. The way we ended last season with such negative momentum, how many injuries we had around that time, none of that's really been applicable to the games and performances so far this season. I think we've been really good at Deepdale especially. We've had a tough fixture run in, considering the games we've had on paper, but to come out of that run with 7 points from our first 4 matches, a complete squad overhaul in the summer transfer window as well. I'd say it's reasonable though that the bookies still have us to finish lower mid-table, but not to be relegated. In 17th, the bookies have Derby County. A lot of people tipping Derby to be a dark horse at the start of the season. Not been the best of starts for John Eustace's side, just 2 points from their opening 4 matches, but still got a long way to go between now and the end of the season. I'm certainly not writing off those people who had Derby down as a dark horse course, at the start of their campaign. Lots of transfer business done there this summer. Still got quite a few of those new players to integrate into the 11 as well. But despite all that, the bookies have dropped them by 1 place since last time. Watford are a faller of 4 places. I've got them in 16th place. Now, they actually have the exact same promotion and relegation odds as Derby do right now, but because Watford are higher up in the table in real life, I've put them 1 place higher in this bookies table as well. But generally speaking, the bookies got the same feeling for Watford as they do Derby. Start of the season, Watford are always a really tough one to put your finger on because of how much change they tend to go through year upon year. Generally speaking though, I think it's been a pretty steady start to the season for them, considering all the new players they brought in. Paolo Pezzolano, a new manager coming into the league as well. I think some of their new attacking recruits especially have looked quite bright so far. I, myself, am a little bit more hot on Watford than the bookies are, but they've got them in 16th at the moment, which is a fall of 4 places. Quite a big riser from last time. We've got Portsmouth in 15, also with the exact same odds as Watford and Derby. 18-1 to be promoted, 13-2 to be relegated. But as Pompey are higher than Derby and Watford in the table after 4 matches, they get the highest spot in this table. I do think more people are getting on board with the Pompey hype train after how well they ended the transfer window, but a pretty good start to the season for them as well. 7 points from their first 4 matches, a good win before the international break against North End. Wouldn't be surprised if, as the season goes on, they continue to grow, go up the table on this one. Coming in 14th place and a faller of 5 places from last time, the bookies have Wrexham. Promotion odds of 10-1, relegation odds of 12-1. Now, it's been a really eye-catching summer for Phil Parkinson's side, including add-ons. They've spent over 30 million. It's been a complete squad overhaul, and I think what we've seen from them on the pitch so far has been a little bit of a mixed bag, and you can very much tell that a lot of new players are being integrated into that squad, because there have been moments in all 4 of their opening matches where I think Wrexham have looked quite good, especially going forward, but equally there have also been quite a few defensive hiccups along the way, and they faced a hell of a lot of shots in those opening 4 matches. So the bookies not quite as hot on Wrexham right now as they were before a ball had been kicked, but promotion odds of 10-1, they're still in that sort of equation. In 13th place and just above Wrexham, we've got their Welsh neighbours, Swansea City. Now, coincidentally, they've actually got the same odds as Wrexham at the moment. Promotion odds of 10-1, relegation odds of 12-1. But as Swansea are higher in the table in real life, they're higher in this bookies table as well. So a marginal gain from Swansea since the last time we did this video, 1 place higher. I think overall it's been a pretty good window for Swansea as well, so I could see why there'd be a bit more optimism about them coming out of this international break. I think that quite a bit of money's been invested into that side. Points-wise, it's been a really good start to the season. 7 points after their first 4 matches. That's not to be sniffed at whatsoever. Defensively, I think they've looked pretty watertight so far as well. So, yeah, definitely a side to watch out for that could gradually climb this table as well. Slap bang in the middle of the bookies table, we've got Millwall with promotion odds of 17-2 and relegation odds of 14-1. Now, this is a climb of 1 place from last time. Start to the season has been a bit of a mixed bag for Millwall. They've been a tough side to put your finger on. They've had those 2 really disappointing home defeats where they failed to score against Middlesbrough and Wrexham, but then 2 brilliant wins on the road to go along with that. Consistency has definitely been a bit of an issue week to week for this Millwall side, but once again, I think another club who has done quite well in the transfer window. They've got a good manager in Alex Neil as well. I think they'll be there or thereabouts in the playoff mix, but there are a lot of sides you can throw into that category at the moment. Speaking of one of those sides, Stoke City have gone up in the bookies' estimations by 4 places since last time. Promotion odds of 8-1 now and relegation odds of 14-1. Brilliant start to the season for Mark Robins' men. 3 wins from their first 4 matches. I know they had that defeat just before the international break against West Brom, but that shouldn't take away from what has been a very good start to the season for the Potters. Picked up some good deals deals during the transfer window as well, utilised the loan market to full effect. I could see why Stoke are a lot higher in people's estimations after that start to the season. Coming in 10th place, the bookies have Norwich City, also with promotion odds of 8-1, but slightly wider relegation odds at 18-1, which is why they're a bit higher than Stoke on this table. It is a fall of 2 places from August. So far, Norwich have been a little bit of a mixed bag, 2 wins, 2 defeats from their first 4 matches. I do think that a manager like Liam Manning, who's received the sort of backing that he has over the summer, will eventually get things right at Norwich, but how long it will take to get some proper consistency in there, that'll be the key as to whether or not they get over the line and into the top 6, in my opinion. But the bookies just have them finishing outside. In 9th place, and a climber of 2 places from last time, we've got Bristol City, actually with the exact same odds as Norwich, 8-1 promotion odds, 18-1 relegation odds, but obviously higher in the table at the moment. Good start for Gerhard Struber at Ashton Gate. 8 points from their first 4 matches, 2 points per game. If you average that between now and the end of the season, you're guaranteed to finish in the top 6, aren't you? I think fixture-wise, Bristol City probably have had quite a decent start to the season with the teams they've faced so far, but that shouldn't take away from what's been a very good start. I think that a lot of their new recruits have looked good so far, certainly Vitek in goal and Emil Rees up front. In general, it's just a good, solid core of players, isn't it, that showed they were capable of getting over the line and into the top 6 last season, and with a good manager in Gerhard Struber, you'd fancy them to be in and around the mix again. In 8th place, and a faller of 5 places from August, we've got Sheffield United, probably one of the toughest sides to predict right now, in my opinion. If redoing a 1 to 24 table, where do you place the Blades at the moment? Because I think in terms of squad quality, at a bare minimum, they're definitely still top 10 in the league, in my opinion. But it's been such a disastrous start to the season for them. 4 losses from 4, 1 goal scored and 7 conceded. I can see why they've been battered a little bit in this bookies table. Now, it is worth stressing that a lot of the business that Sheffield United did was towards the back end of the window, and so they've still got a lot of fresh faces to integrate into that squad. That's going to take time, of course. Whether or not it's Ruben Sellers, though, to guide them back up the table, we'll have to wait and see. This I found really interesting. The bookies have Leicester City in 7th place, which is a fall of 1 place from last time. Despite being the best performing of the parachute teams, the bookies have them to finish lowest, which I think is quite interesting. Summer transfer window I don't think was ideal for Leicester, but they pulled their finger out towards the end on deadline day, didn't they? Covering up a few positions with some nice loanees, certainly in midfield with Jordan James and Aaron Ramsey coming in. It's points-wise a pretty good start to the season for Leicester. 9 points from 4 matches isn't to be sniffed at. Performance-wise, though, I don't think they've been brilliant, but there's every chance that that can come later down the line. I think they've got a good manager in Martí Cifuentes who knows how to get results in this league, and when everyone's fully fit, it's still one of the best starting 11s in the league. It's just off the pitch issues, I think, which is why the bookies are somewhat hedging their bets with Leicester at the moment. Into the top 6 we go, and in 6th place the bookies have West Brom. This is a climb of 4 places from last time. Now, they do have the same promotion odds as Leicester right now, 10-3, but their relegation odds are way wider, 66-1. The bookies don't see them going down whatsoever, which is why they are higher in this table. Been a really good start to the season for West Brom. I myself have been really impressed. I think there was a bit of uncertainty with the Baggies coming into this season. I think a lot of people fancied them to be in and amongst the playoff mix, but I didn't see many people tipping them for a playoff finish. I think just because of the unknown of Ryan Mason, we thought there'd be a few sales there this summer, which there have been, but I think generally speaking their squad is still looking pretty strong, all things considered. You definitely fancy them to be in and about the mix again, and at the moment, the bookies do think they'll get over the line. In 5th place, the bookies have Middlesbrough. This is a climb of 2 places from last time. The bookies didn't have Middlesbrough in the top 6 when we last did this video, but I think a lot of people are really coming around to Middlesbrough being a lot stronger than they originally anticipated. Flawless start to the season for Rob Edwards' men, 12 points from their first 4 matches, the only team with a 100% record. Considering as well, a lot of their business was done later on in the window. That's a really cracking start, because I think Edwards was drafted in somewhat difficult circumstances there. First game after the international break for Middlesbrough will be against my side, North End, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing them in the flesh over a full 90 minutes. But I think a lot of people are a lot hotter on Middlesbrough right now. In fourth place, the Bookies have Birmingham. Not a change whatsoever from where they had them in August. Currently with promotion odds of 15-8 and relegation odds of 80-1. All in all, probably been a little bit of a mixed bag for Birmingham, but 7 points from 4 matches I don't think can be sniffed at. Obviously, the defeat just before the international break away at Leicester was a bit of a disappointing one, and there is still a feeling that even in some of those matches that Birmingham have won, they've not performed to their very best, but that makes me think that there's more to come from them as this season goes on. Transfer-wise, I think Birmingham have done very well. Very strong-looking squad. They'd still be a pick for the top 6, in my opinion. But the top 3 is where things get interesting, because in third place, the Bookies have Southampton falling by 1 place. Currently with promotion odds of 7-4 and relegation odds of 80-1. Now, for the vast majority of pre-season, Southampton were one of the 2 most tipped sides for promotion, and the bookies still think that they'll be in that automatic promotion race, but it's been somewhat of a stuttering start for Will Still. 5 points from their first 4 matches, 1 win, 2 draws and a loss. I think that Southampton are somewhat in that boat as well, of maybe blaming a bit of a slow start to the season on their transfer business being a bit later into the window. As a result, they're one of the sides who I think will get better as the season goes on. I think I'd still have them in the top 2 personally, but the bookies think that someone else could squeeze in there perhaps. And that team is Coventry. Now, it is worth stressing that the bookies do have Coventry and Southampton currently with the exact same odds. 7-4 to be promoted, 80-1 to be relegated. The reason Coventry are higher in this table is because they're currently higher in real life. Really eye-catching start to the season for Frank Lampard's men. 8 points from their first 4 matches, but it's those last 3 games especially. Alright, maybe not that one against Oxford, but the games against Derby and QPR, when they really put those 2 sides to the sword, look so fluid in the final third. They're by far the league's top scorers after these 4 matches, having already hit the back of the net on 14 occasions. The thing that's constantly held Coventry back from fighting for automatic promotion in the past is constantly starting the season really slow, but this is the first time that they've immediately clicked into gear. I think their squad, or at least starting 11, is looking very strong coming out of this transfer window as well. I can see why the bookies are quite hot on them at the moment. But still coming in as your title favourite, it is Ipswich Town with promotion odds of 11-10 and relegation odds of 100-1. Not been a great start to the season performance-wise from Kieran McKenna's men, who are still searching for their first win after 4 matches. But I think you look at the quality on paper, the business they did towards the end of the window as well, I think most would agree that they are still the title favourites, even despite having this really slow start to the campaign. I think what could help Ipswich somewhat as well is the fact that a lot of their fellow promotion rivals, or teams who we at least expect to be in and amongst that package at the end of the season, have also had a bit of a slow start as well. Make no mistake though, I think it would be a huge underachievement for this squad to not at least finish in the top 2 come the end of the season, and Kieran McKenna's never, I suppose, really work with that sort of scrutiny when that's the expectation. Maybe you could argue that was the expectation in League One, but in the Championship right now, I think there's more eyeballs on Ipswich than there's ever been. So the bookies still have them to win the league, but do you? I'd be interested to know down below. Apart from that though, guys, that will now wrap it up for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you did go on to enjoy, make sure to drop a like and get all your thoughts in the comments down below. But I will catch you all in the next one.